Well, welcome back. Yes, today we're going to talk very briefly and succinctly about leaving the body to the side. Yes, this communication mechanism that we're taught as kids is who we are. I mean, really, who we are, who we always have been and will be until it ceases to function, right? Which we call death, right? Yes. Yeah. So, given that frame of reference, given that conditioning, who wouldn't be freaked out by this, right? I mean, who wouldn't be freaked out to identify with something that clearly doesn't appear as it once did from one moment to the next? See all these? Well, I didn't used to have those. There's a giant, well, as my daughter puts it, clear cut, clear cut back there because I've reached age 50 and it simply happens. It is not what it once was. Perhaps your physical strength is not what it once was. And no doubt you've noticed lots of change. Nothing's constant. You know? Now, we've also spent significant time, an entire review period on the theme, a central idea that I am not a body, I am free, for I am still as God created me. And we've spent a tremendous amount of time here on these videos talking about just that. If you feel this would benefit you to go back and review, I encourage you to do that. That's a very, very poignant phrase, isn't it? I am not a body, I am free, for I am still as God created me. So we're going to take that a little bit further here today. And what we're talking about specifically in the workbook is lesson 226. My home awaits me. I will hasten there. All right. My home awaits me. I will hasten there. What I will say is something that many spiritual traditions also say. There's no place to go. Our home, so to speak, heaven, paradise, if you prefer to call it that, is not an actual place. Remember, A Course in Miracles is talking about absolute truth. It's pointing to absolute truth in which there are no separate places. If heaven, in fact, existed as a place, it would stand apart from other places. That's duality right there. It's duality. So when we refer to it, it's simply a term for what is that we're in the process, each and every one of us, of awakening to. So our home in God has always existed. It is, in fact, all that there is. We could choose in the present moment, when else, to experience this. This second sentence, I will hasten there, is a declaration of intent. It's a powerful declaration of intent, isn't it, to practice. It's a powerful declaration of will. It, in fact, is a declaration that your will and God's will are, in fact, one and the same. This is a choice we can make. Lesson 126 is an invitation to make that choice. We can, in fact, hasten home. what do? We allow the Holy Spirit to come in and take full control. This is, according to the thought system of A Course in Miracles, allowing. It's getting out of our own way in the sense that we leave our preconceived notions about how things are supposed to be to the side. Let our guide, our teacher, who knows what's up, so to speak, let him, let her, let it, let them, if you have more than one guide, let them lead the way. This is what is meant by many passages here in the Course, and of myself I can do nothing. Well, that's very true. As we identify further and further with the ego, we, in fact, become more and more confused, don't we? So we've all undertaken what has seemed to be a long journey back, a long journey from confusion to crystal clarity. Lesson 226 is an invitation to experience that crystal clarity. It's a choice that we can make. So, as always, my invitation to you, and yeah, it's an urge. If you want to call it a prod, fabulous, not a problem. Call it that. I invite and encourage you strongly as you go through these workbook lessons, these very powerful ideas, to not skip any more here in the workbook. In part 2, the commentary that appears in the actual workbook for students is quite short. It's 2 paragraphs. So I invite you to read over that. And as you do, really allow the meaning to permeate your life. As always, with every idea in spirituality, there will be certain words or certain ideas, certain feelings that come immediately to your mind that you resonate with more than others. It's perfectly normal. But what I'm inviting you to do, it would be very beautiful and kind of you, is to not skip. When you remember today's idea, take a few moments and contemplate this. As always, it's not necessary that you spend 3 or 4 hours a day like a hermit monk in quiet contemplation. That is not necessary. Remember that the Course aims to save us time. Guess who's in charge of the decision to remember? Yeah. We are. This is a very, very powerful idea when put into practice, because we're all going for the experience. Spirituality is all about experience. Practicing these workbook ideas bring about the experience. When will it come? I don't know. None of us can make a guarantee that enlightenment's coming in 15 minutes. It might be in 15 lifetimes or more, but you never know when. You don't know when, because each of us has woven a web, so to speak. We have interposed so much stuff between who we think we are right now and the truth that sometimes it can feel like a very lengthy process to cut through the webs, to clear away the clouds. Well, this is a more than turbocharged light speed spaceship vehicle right here. A Course in Miracles points to absolute truth. It's beyond words, but we will all experience it. So I invite you today to make some serious strides. And if it helps you to think of it as a place, right? A home, a place, a direction, so be it. Yeah, roll with that, roll with that. If it inspires you to practice, if it inspires you to remember to forgive, do it, do it. Yeah, do it. That's one of the reasons why there are so many spiritual traditions extant in the world. There are so many different people and so many different approaches. As I've mentioned in previous videos, I prefer to think of those as doors. A former teacher of mine once referred to many different traditions as doors. And they're all doors that open into the same space, so to speak. So when you've found a method of remembering, when you've found a practice here that helps you to remember this, to experience it, and inspires you to show up and practice it, then roll with it. That's what I want everyone in the world to do. Myself included, by the way. Yeah, whoever said you can't give yourself homework? All right, guys. Well, I'll see you here on the next video. And thank you, as always, for joining me.